Hey guys, and welcome to one of the old school grudge matches of the Warhammer universe, as the Might of Way shall be leading the Empire up against Taro and his Greenskin legions here on Spite Reach. Should be a really good fun game, and I asked the question to the Empire, how many guns do you need? And they answered, yes, we have a bucket ton of ranged units coming in, and a nice mixture of different ones as well. So let's pop in here and have a look at the builds. So, for the forces of the Empire, in the little vanguard position, we have triple war wagons. Now, war wagons in general used to be considered super memey, but they can actually bring some rather decent now armor-piercing missile damage since they've been buffed, and are pretty mobile and fast. And kind of against the Greenskins, a faction you know for 100% guarantee, going to be bringing Grom, loads of fast-moving skirmishers, and so forth. These guys can certainly bring some nice utility to the Empire forces. Leading them up in the skies, we have Balthasar Gelt. This is Gelt country now, and he's going to be coming in with the Staff of Valanis, Arcane Conduit, as well as the Golden Hounds, a spell I rarely see, but can certainly do some awesome damage, particularly when overcast, and Searing Doom. For the front battle line, we do have Spearmen, these brave men of Sigma, alongside some swordsmen and Sigma sons, and we're trying to hold back the enemy horde, because this is a lot of range to protect. In the secondary battle line, we have some Free Company Militia. I love this deployment, because when the Greenskins get into the back line, first and foremost, they're going to have to shut down the Free Company. And these guys are pretty decent in combat. And all the while, we have a bucket ton of handgunners in the rear, including the Silver Bullets, to apply that pressure. A few Spearmen as well, holding the back lines down. We do have a single Great Cannon, it would seem, protected by some Spearmen in the back, and using the woods as a little bit of cover as well. Really fun Empire build, excited to see how it performs. As for the Greenskins, as is expected, we do have a bucket ton of Skirmish Cavalry, Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers, more Gross Mage Marauders, more Forest Goblins, and more Goblin Wolf Riders. For the main battle line, it is going to be cheap, cheerful Gobbos. These guys are here and ready for a good scrap. Look at this guy jump up and down with excitement. They will get slaughtered by the majority of the Empire forces, but they do bring a nice bit of numbers and width to this build in general. We have the Regiment Round Night Goblins on the far side, 8-peak Loons, Black Orcs, Black Orcs, Black Orcs. That is going to be the tail of the tape. These guys coming in to try to drag down the enemy as quickly as possible. We have Orc Ball Boy Biggins in the back line here as well. I'm starting to see more and more Greenskin players bring cavalry, which is such good to see. We have the villain of the current Total War Warhammer meta, Grom, charging forward, actually dragging a few wolves with him, of course bringing all his very powerful goodies. And in the forest we have some more Orc Ball Boy Biggins as well. That is quite a mouthful to say. Try to say that 3 times super quickly. It'll be pretty hard for you. Cannon shots are going to be raining in. Not a bad idea to start focusing down Grom, but there's also a giant ritual hag here with Spirit Leech, who's going to simply just be using Spirit Leech, most likely on Balthasar Gelt, but I think a good usage of the time would be used on the War Wagons, because these guys are quite a nice counter to Grom in general. You can see they're already starting to get his regen ticking, and they can counter enemy Wolf Rider Archers relatively comfortably, because War Wagons have 90 armor. That's no joke, and it looks like the Greenskin player knows this. Spirit Leech is going to be going down on these War Wagons, starting to light them up just a little bit. Empire quite happy to sit back here in a defensive formation, continue to pour fire in onto the enemy, and allow the cannon in the back rear here to continue to fire in as long as possible. I like the fact it's kind of away from the main fight. Way's an experienced player, and he knows the further the fight is away from your artillery, the better for that artillery piece all round. General Troll Hag has taken a cannonball to the face at this point. Of course, she has regen, but she's going to be hitting that regen cap pretty quickly if she keeps taking damage like this. And on the far side, the Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers have managed to focus down some Free Company Militia, but Sigma Sons are here as well to help drive and push away this skirmish contingent. But little do they know, Orc Ball Boy Biggins are on the approach, and they love dueling the Sigma Sons, though not so much in the forested terrain here. As Searing Doom does go down, Black Orcs manage to stutter their advance, so they don't take too much damage on the approach. And we do have some Golden Hounds going down as well, roasting up those poor Gobbos who are always getting shot on the approach by the Free Company Militia and handgunners, who certainly want to turn their Bane onto Grom the Paunch though as quickly as possible, even if it's just to push him off as he is running down these War Wagons. But he's now taking a lot of focus fire from them, as well as more Free Company Militia, and now they're going to use mobility to pull back behind the enemy. Unfortunately, Sigma Sons did get dragged out of position by the Skirmish Cavalry, and there's a huge hole now on this right-hand flank for the forces of the Empire. These Spearmen need to disengage from this defensive formation and push forward to fill this gap, because Gobbos are starting to run into the back line. It looks like a Searing Doom does go down, breaking off some Goblins and some okay damage to the Black Orcs, nothing too scary. But for now, the Spear Wall does indeed hold. and the handgunners are going to start raining in some decent fire. Free Company Militia dealing with goblins down here, but they're going to get out their cutlasses and doing some pretty decent work across the battle line and pistol whipping from point blank range. Blackhawks are starting to get into the back line, which is pretty scary stuff. There's one thing dealing with goblins in the back line, but elite infantry, yeah, that's not too good. Fanatics do come down, but completely swing and a miss here, hitting none of the units, and those poor Night Goblins are now just a little bit stranded, once again trying to deal with the Free Company Militia, whilst the other units do crossfire into the Blackhawks. Good use of the range units so far. You can see he's pulling them out in different directions, so it's almost impossible to shut them all down in one go. The Blackhawks really paying the price now for diving into the back line. Free Company Militia holding Grom in place, allowing some of the war wagons to deal damage to him. The others, though, are focusing their attention elsewhere. Searing Doom comes down on those goblins, looking to break them and relieve the pressure on these spearmen, so perhaps they can come down into the back line and help drive off these Black Hawks. But instead, it is the spearmen who do break, and another unit of Black Hawks has gone to the back line, this time onto the handgunners, which is so much more important than the Free Company Militia, because the handgunners, they're the ones who are going to bring the pain back. Free Company Militia firing into flanks is nowhere near as effective as the handgunners are doing such things. But it looks like the Empire do know this. Silver Bullets now going to be lining up, and these poor little Blackhawks are getting obliterated from all angles. But it is not going all of the Empire way. Grom's still relatively healthy and is now dishing out the pain to the Warrior Priest and the War Wagons. And the Skirmishers have been unleashed, pouring out with that flank overload from the tree line. The Orc Boy Biggins were able to overrun the Spearmen, cannons down, and a load of the handgunners are also getting shut down. Beautiful overload on that left-hand side by the Greenskin forces. As a wall goes down as well, Night Goblins should be able to dish out the damage to the Spearmen. This other unit stands zero chance up against the Blackhawks. And it looks like even these Blackhawks are getting it from all angles, still holding relatively firm. Gelt does come down to try and bunch them up before bringing the pain with a Searing Doom from the skies. But for the most part, it is going to be a swing and a miss, catching just a few of the Blackhawks, though their morale is very low at this point, and I expect them to break in a matter of seconds. Look how many handgunners are currently training their eyes upon the elite Greenskin forces. Skirmish carriage running over handgunners and Free Company Militia in the back line. Good use of them by the Greenskin player. Grom the Paunch is getting desperately low at this point. War Wagons are sticking a little too close to these Boar Boy Biggins. Definitely like to see this, kind of pulling these guys away and trying to allow the Free Company Militia time to actually do the damage, because the War Wagons can stay on the move and dish out the damage as they go, and they're going to be very key in the late game here if the Empire wants to stay alive and active, because there's so many skirmishers floating around the back line now. Poor little handgunners getting shut down, but we are going to see a Hound and a Searing Doom, but the Greenskin player Micro absolutely on point, is going to pull out of that engagement and once again try to surround Balthazar Gelt, who doesn't have the best support anymore over here in this side of the battlefield. War Priest is driving his horse hard though into this main battle line, and it looks like the Greenskins going to give up the pursuit of Balthazar Gelt. Not a bad idea, because the War Priest can bring down the pain from the sky. Looks like he does try it, but with all these forces moving away, it's barely going to clip any of them, just doing some damage to some of the Spider Riders. And the War Priest does have the Banner of Eternal Flame, so he's going to be doing fire damage. Hunting down Grom is going to be his main goal. Lucky Banner, though, is currently popped on him to keep him alive, and the Silver Bullets finally do bite the bullet themselves. Though there are some War Wagons floating out over to this side, a lovely Searing Doom once again. And it looks like this time it shall connect. Fire rains down from the skies. Grom is lucky the Lucky Banner lasts so long, because all of his troops just start routing and running for their lives. The Spearmen have rallied to the cries of the Warrior Priest, and Grom is in a sticky situation as all the skirmish camp abandon and flee before the might and prowess of combat Balthazar Gelt, who's up to 132 kills right here. Warrior Priest is going to be giving Grom the business, but Orc Boar Boy Biggins do pour forth from the other side of the battlefield, chasing down the War Wagons who are running desperately low on ammunition at this point. Grom has broken. Balthazar Gelt needs to get up in the sky and then simply float over Grom where possible and force him off the battlefield for good. Balance of power is very, very unfavourable though for the Empire, because as you can see, the rest of the battle, whilst we were trained on this awesome little conflict down here, the Empire won what you would think would be the key engagement, but lost every single other small engagement, and because of that, they are actually kind of starting to struggle quite badly. Orc Boar Boy Biggins have now managed to engage, it would seem, on some of the Silver Bullets who are biting the dust. An upgraded Spirit Leech coming down from the Giant Road Troll Hag, who's trying to lead from afar, screaming and bellowing orders to the rest of the Greenskins to hold firm. We've nearly got them, lads, and that's also because the War Wagons are completely out of ammunition and there's almost no combat troops left for the forces here of the Empire. But there still is always a chance. Big shots coming down there by the Warrior Priest, annihilating Goblins, Night Goblins, Black Orcs, and some good Searing Dooms may be able to seal the deal. Balthasar Gelt goes for a rather ballsy strategy of saying, you know what, F these Greenskins, I'm going to charge straight on top of them and get aggressive. Shield of Faith trying to buff him with Hammer of Sigma, but at the end of the day, he is but a frail man, and he does get pushed off by the chopping axes of the Black Orcs. The War Wagons running out of ammo just at the wrong time. If they had 1 or 2 more volleys left on them to shut down these Black Orcs and force them off, the game would be over. But alas, it is over. But for the Empire, those pesky Greenskins are at it again, coming in with a pretty awesome victory up against the Empire. Really fun tactical game. We saw the Empire holding firm. I like their build. I like the idea of the build, kind of reining in that long-range pressure, but just losing the infantry fight over the duration of the battle, and a perfectly timed flank overload, a delayed flank overload as well, it's good to note, to make the Empire forces commit to that front line, and then the cavalry and so forth whipped around that left-hand flank, shut down half the range, and then still took a bit of a beating, but it was just about enough in the end. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Very well played to XMT's very own way, and big props for sending in a loss. A lot of people don't like sending in losses, but I love to cast them as well. It does mix up quite a bit, particularly when it is such an interesting build as his. And well played to Taro, coming in with a good victory. Pretty standard Greenskin stuff, lots of skirmish and kind of Black Orcs, Goblins, Grom, and Giant Ritual Hag. But I really like the inclusion here of the Orc Boar Boy Biggins, units we don't get to see terribly often, and they performed pretty good. Not the craziest damage value, but they did their main goal of overwhelming that flank and putting pressure on the back line. Balthasar Gelt performed amazingly, but before we get into any more of this, the damage dealt, damage value, if you did enjoy this video, please do make sure to leave a fat thumbs up and subscribe for more Total War Warhammer content in the future. It really does help out quite a bit. Feel free to comment down below who was your favourite moment, what are you looking most forward to in the new DLCs to come, and just say quack or whatever's on your mind really. I'm always happy to read comments. I do read them all. I cannot reply to them unfortunately because there's so many of them, but I do read through them all, so I really do appreciate them. We've had so many lovely comments recently. It really does boost my spirits when it comes to, you know, putting out content and all that kind of good stuff. There are links down below in the description if you want to support the channel. And there's something really, really exciting news. I've actually got a partnership now with, oh my god, I've completely forgotten their name, which is not good, but it's called like Games World or something like that. Oh my god. There'll be a link in the description, don't worry. Super professional ducky here. And basically, you can buy game codes off there from Steam at discounted prices, all completely supported, and they currently have special offers on for all of the Total War Warhammer DLCs apart from the new one, but I'm sure that's going to be coming in the next couple of days. Warhammer free pre-order, all the Warhammer games, literally every single Warhammer game basically on Steam currently has discounts, and if you use a couple of codes as well, which I'll leave down below, you get even more discounts from them, which is pretty cool. So if you use my link, you get those lovely discounts, which is rather nice of them. There's also links down below in the description to my Patreon, where you can support the channel, and Discord, where you can submit replays, hang out with a load of cool people, hone your skills, and all that good stuff. Sorry about that plug there, but I do have to do it. It is, you know, part of my job here. Onto stuff you realistically want to see, which of course is that damage dealt and damage value. Balthasar Gelt, 135 kills, an absolute beast. 1,248 damage value, 11,000 damage dealt. I love the combination of spells Way brought, and if Taro's micro wasn't as good as it was, he probably would have been able to carry the game there and bring the pain a little bit more, because a lot of those shots were well duped by the mobile Greenskin forces. War Priest with Banner of Eternal Flame I think is a very competitive pick in this matchup, simply because 9 times out of 10 you are going to be having to deal with Grom, and Grom has a weakness to fire. Stone Trolls have weakness to fire, Giant Ritual Hag have weakness to fire, and they're all pretty common picks. And his banner gives fire damage to himself, but also nearby allies. It's really funny if you rock him with the War Wagons or you rock him with the Hellblasters, and they just obliterate Grom in a matter of seconds. The Spearball did its best. It held the line as long as it could, but unfortunately did falter. Free Company Militia, I think maybe there was 1 or 2 too many of them. Maybe cut 2 of them down and add some more kind of frontline troops, or even just light cavalry to help protect the back line. It may have worked a bit better. Handgunners, some bringing the pain, particularly the Silver Bullets here, 1,300 damage value, and the others doing okay, not too great. The War Wagons across the board, 1,400, 900, and 1,100 damage value. Beautiful work by them, and I think they're starting to, people are starting to come around to the fact they're not actually a meme, and they're actually pretty powerful and quite useful. Although not the best unit, but, you know, they are still very good. Great Con, unfortunately, has got caught out a little bit by the flank overload from the trees. As for Taro, Grom performed pretty damn good, 1,555 damage value, but he is pretty expensive, and he did go down here in this battle, but he's also quite useful there for that backline harass and disruption. Giant Ritual Hag, only 382 damage value on her. As for the Gobbos, the 8-peak loons did okay, 600 damage value is quite good, the other goblins fared much worse, and the Blackhawks across the board was a real mixed bag. One of them only getting 200 damage value, which is a terrible performance by them. The other only 681, but this last one got 955, and these two units were relatively stable in the late game. Plenty more they could bring to the battlefield. As for the skirmish core, let's have a look. 444 damage value, 694, 441, 445, performing really well, although the majority of that did come in combat by chasing down those handgunners in the mid-game, and that's really where the battle was won or lost. Orc Boy Big Guns working as quite a nice foil to the skirmish cav, 875 and 610 damage value. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed. Until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.